600 years. Just sit with that number for a second. Imagine a single organizational enterprise surviving, expanding, and absolutely dominating global geopolitics for over 6 centuries, literally from 1299 all the way to 1922. Today we're unpacking an empire that eventually spanned 3 entirely different continents. And the craziest part? It all started with just one man in a tiny, scrappy frontier principality.
It completely begs the question, right? How exactly does a small, rugged frontier tribe manage to conquer 3 continents? How do they pull off one of the greatest military and administrative expansions in human history, especially when they're boxed in by massive, established powers? Well, the answer lies entirely in the strategic vision of their founder.
Welcome to The Explainer. I am so pumped to guide you through this today. We're looking at the complete story of Osman I, also known as Osman Ghazi. Talk about the ultimate underdog. This is the man who planted the seed of a literally world-changing empire. We're going to map out exactly how his leadership, his brilliant strategic mind, and his uncanny ability to spot opportunities transformed a small border tribe into an absolute global powerhouse.
Chapter 1. The Frontier Chieftain. To really grasp the magnitude of Osman's achievements, we've got to set the scene. Think about the unforgiving frontier lands of 13th century Anatolia. Born around 1258 in Sohut, that's in modern-day northwestern Turkey, Osman was the son of Ertugrul, the leader of the Kayu tribe. Now, Osman wasn't raised in some cushy palace, not at all. He grew up directly on the volatile, bleeding edge between Muslim and Byzantine territories. It was a rugged, dangerous environment that demanded absolute mastery in horse riding and swordsmanship. But crucially, it also served as a real-world masterclass in leadership and high-stakes diplomacy from a very, very early age.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the context of Osman's early reign is absolutely vital. Around 1280 or 1281, after his father passes away, Osman steps up as the new bey, or chieftain, and he inherits some massive immediate threats. He's got a weakening but still highly dangerous Byzantine Empire right next door. He's completely surrounded by rival Turkish beyliks, essentially competitors fighting for the exact same resources. And over all of this hangs the heavy, dominating influence of the Mongols over Anatolia. It was a total pressure cooker. But here's the thing, where everyone else saw impending doom and impossible operating conditions, Osman saw strategic business and military opportunities.
Chapter 2. The Dream of Empire.
You know, every great, long-lasting enterprise needs a foundational vision, a core identity. For Osman, this vision was deeply tied to his relationship with a highly respected Sufi scholar named Sheikh Edebali. Osman actually built alliances with him through marriage to Malhun Hatun, and according to tradition, Bala Hatun. So the story goes that while staying at Edebali's home, Osman experiences this legendary, surreal dream. A moon emerges from Edebali's chest and enters Osman's own chest. Suddenly, a giant tree grows right out of his body, and its branches spread across mountains and continents, providing shade to countless people. And this brilliantly illustrates what would become the central identity, the unifying vision of his future empire. Edebali interpreted this as a divine sign of absolute global greatness for Osman and his descendants.
Chapter 3. Birth of the Ottoman State.
So how did that metaphorical seed actually sprout in the real historical world? Well, the year is 1299. The Seljuk Sultanate, which had previously held authority over Osman's lands, had dramatically weakened. It essentially collapsed under Mongol domination. This power vacuum gave Osman the perfect window. He seized the moment, taking the bold step to declare his principality effectively independent. And this specific year, 1299, is traditionally regarded as the absolute birth of the Ottoman state.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the linguistic journey that happens next. We go from Osman to Osmanli to Ottoman. I mean, it is incredibly rare for a sprawling global empire to literally take the name of its founding visionary. One man's name became a global identifier for a state that would dictate world events for centuries. Talk about the ultimate brand longevity, right?
Chapter 4. Defeating the Byzantine Empire.
To grow this newly independent state, Osman obviously needed resources, land, and a powerful army. His main objective? Aggressive expansion directly into Byzantine territory. Notice the dynamic at play here. On one side, you have Osman's rapidly growing forces. By launching successful raids and capturing forts like Karacahisar and his first capital, Yenishir, he initiated what was essentially a brilliant talent acquisition strategy. These early victories attracted fierce Muslim warriors, known as Ghazis, who specifically wanted to fight for a successful, visionary leader. Then, on the flip side, you have the Byzantine Empire, which is experiencing a severe decline in its hold on Anatolia. The contrast literally couldn't be sharper. It's a rising, agile startup going head-to-head with a decaying legacy giant.
And that dynamic directly led to 1302 and the immensely important Battle of Baphius. The Byzantines finally realized the threat Osman posed and sent a formal army to stop him. And Osman? He decisively crushed them, no contest. This was a massive turning point. It established incredible military credibility for Osman, proved he was a major regional power, encouraged even more Turkish tribes to join his ranks, and drastically accelerated the Byzantine decline.
Chapter 5.
The conquest of Bursa. Now, Bursa was a wealthy, highly strategic Byzantine city, and capturing it was Osman's ultimate, lifelong ambition. It would fundamentally elevate his entire state. So in 1308, Osman surrounded the city, and the long, grueling siege of Bursa began. Make no mistake, this was not just some quick frontier raid. This was a massive, sustained operational undertaking that took years. But in a really tragic twist of fate, as the siege dragged on, Osman fell severely ill. He would ultimately pass away around 1323 or 1324, never actually living to see the city surrender.
But here's where his operational planning and his solid succession strategy really paid off. In 1326, Bursa finally falls to his son, Orhan, which completely fulfilled Osman's final wish. Orhan made Bursa the first major Ottoman capital, and, honoring his father, he transferred Osman's remains to be buried there in the newly conquered city. That move permanently cemented the dynasty's legitimacy.
Chapter 6. A 600-year legacy. Let's move to and see how this builds, because I want us to step back for a second and analyze the massive, continent-spanning canopy that grew from Osman's small frontier seed over the next 6 centuries. Just look at the staggering progression of a single generation here. 1258, born in Suet. 1299, founded the state. 1302, the decisive Battle of Baphius. And 1326, Bursa is captured. He totally transformed a small border tribe into a formidable regional power with just incredible momentum.
So the crucial point is that beyond uniting tribes and defeating armies, Osman was not just a successful warlord. He was a brilliant administrator. He adopted Seljuk administrative practices, he kept local officials in place, and he actively allowed Christian populations to continue practicing their faith while integrating them into the new state. This was an absolute genius business and operational strategy. It minimized resistance, maintained local stability, and really ensured the long-term survival of his conquests. And this sturdy, incredibly well-designed foundation birthed a dynasty that ruled continuously for over 6 centuries. His direct descendants include legendary figures like Murad I, Mehmed II, who of course would go on to conquer Constantinople in 1453, and Suleiman Magnificent, under whom the empire reached its absolute peak, stretching all the way across Southeast Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa.
Which really leaves us with one staggering question to wrap up on. How might world history have changed if this one chieftain hadn't seen opportunities where others saw only enemies? The ripple effects of his life, his administrative genius, and his unyielding vision completely reshaped the globe. It is a powerful reminder of how clear vision and strategic adaptability can build legacies that last for centuries. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the history around you.